Hey guys, Trevor Holt here. Welcome to another episode of the Who Are We podcast. Today we have a special guest, John Walters. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, man. Thanks for being here. Just before we get started, a quick disclosure. This episode's being recorded. We're going to upload it to YouTube and put some links on some other social media networks just to promote it a little bit. And go from there. The basic premises is just, trying to get people to listen to other people's perspectives on identity and what they do and what they stand for, and may help inspire other people to find who they are. And, we're just out to have a bit of fun. So thanks again for joining us. So we'll get straight into it. Who is John and what does he stand for?
Yeah, man. I mean, first off, again, I want to say thank you so much for having me on. And I don't want to minimize the conversation, but John, I'm just your average guy trying to do something great. I just want to leave my mark. So I'm out here in Cincinnati, Ohio. I don't know how familiar everyone is with that. That's not completely true. I'm actually in Kentucky. And one of the main things I'm involved in right now in this current moment is trying to build my own personal brand, which is really built around the whole idea of just helping other people reach their own goals. And my real field is in fitness.
Yeah. So it sounds like that part of who you are now is helping other people based around fitness goals. Is that what you're trying to achieve at the moment?
Yes, sir.
And
Yeah.
how are you going about that? So building a personal brand, it must be challenging, I suppose, to try and get some messages out to people and try and build that that concept up with people.
Yeah. It has been challenging. So I've been on this journey, let's say, since 2015. Started off at a year, and the original plan actually wasn't personal training at all. That's actually what my overall model is. Originally, I wanted to be a physical therapist. And just spending some time in that field and being able to meet people and realize that, hey, if I do my job well here, they may not even have to go to physical therapy, So that really motivated me to try to become a better trainer so that I could, be more preventive medicine than reactive medicine.
Yep. That's amazing. So that's 9 years, 2015, 9 years ago. Time flies, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So even throughout your journey, you've realigned yourself with different concepts. So from being a reactive to preventive type process, trying to keep people out of harm and not needing the physiotherapy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. Yeah. And most.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
You're
Sorry.
right. Yeah. Did you change, like in 2015? What was it? Was there a change in your life, or was there an event that drove you down this path, or how did you end up on this path now? Is it something that you worked into, or something that you accidentally stumbled across, or what circumstances led you to start that journey in 2015?
Yeah. So great question. So I wasn't sure how far to go back. To be honest with you, I actually started off in the military. That's where I spent a lot of my time from the age of 18 up to about 24, 25 years old. And I got out of the military in 2015. And while I was in the military, I had this awesome experience. I was actually allowed to be a part of helping military members get back in a position where they could, fully participate in our events as far as being physically fit. And when I had the opportunity to do that, I was like, dang, I kind of like this. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun to just push people, and help them realize that they can do what it is they're setting out to do and help them get back to what they deem as, ideal fitness levels. And it just stuck with me. And I was like, how do I do this when I get out? Once I figured out how to do that, I was like, oh, okay, that's my door. That's my way in, because I like the interaction. I like being helpful.
Yeah. So you're getting it sounds like you're getting a lot of joy or a lot of satisfaction of your own self purpose by helping these people.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, there's nothing quite like it. One of the main types of people I work with, just because of how it works out, is I have a lot of women clients, and I can't speak globally, but a lot of times women don't have as much upper body strength as they would desire, and ideally a lot of them like, man, it would be so cool. And it may sound random, but I always start off with an assessment, and they're like, man, it'd be so cool to be able to do a pull-up. Like, it probably sounds super basic to most men, but there's not a lot of women out there that are just knocking out pull-ups, and
Yeah.
so just being able to take someone from not being able to do that to being able to do one, even if it's not pretty, like just watching their expression, like, hey, like I achieved that. Like, it's life changing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so what sort of strategies, obviously, participating in this podcast is something that you're doing to get your name out there, but what sort of strategies are you doing to build, and how successful have you been over that last few years? Is this something that's creating income for you to support, enough income to support yourself, or is it something you're still building? Or
Yep. So in my mind, it's always a process, right? And so I know I said earlier it was a personal brand, but I've gotten to the point now where I realize it's a cliche saying, but they say if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I've gotten to the point where I realize if I really want to make this into something that's not just beneficial for myself, I need more people. And so now there's actually a few of us working together to accomplish this. And we use social media heavily. Like, we're on Facebook quite a bit. We're on Instagram quite a bit. I'm just now getting my feet wet on LinkedIn. That's how I found you. So we're really just trying to get our name out there and just really trying to, really empower people to realize, hey, you're capable of doing more than you thought. And if you really want to do it, there's definitely room out here for you to give it a shot.
yeah, and it sounds like you're focusing on the physical side of things, but obviously, to get people to be able to be their best physical self, there's an emotional side that you have to deal with, because obviously, some of the barriers involved in people performing at their physical best is mental. Is that something that you've looked at, or something that you're addressing?
Yeah, so it's funny that you say that. The actual brand itself is called Three Pillars, and the three pillars of our business are mind, body, and spirit, right? And so I realized that, and all of this started with me. I realized before I could help someone else, I had to figure out how to help myself, right? And so there were a couple of things that happened early on in my life that kind of spit me on a certain path, and I was like, dang, like, in order for me to get where I need to go, there's some things I need to work on, and one of those was my mindset. I didn't always look at life with the mindset and frame that, yo, it's possible. It always seemed like it was always happening for other people, and I didn't quite make the connection that it was possible for me too. And fitness was the way I discovered it, but the lesson that I discovered, I feel, spans more than just, the gym. And so ideally, in my mind, whatever mental toughness we develop by doing an extra rep, running an extra mile, doing whatever that extra thing is, it sucks a little bit. Just getting that little bit of, mental toughness in the gym can translate into other areas where you're experiencing mental toughness.
Yeah. So it was mental, physical, and spiritual were your three pillars, is it? Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's quite interesting. And do you think obviously you've gone through on your own for quite some time, but now you've come to the realization that one person's not big enough to do everything, and trying to get other people involved, and realizing that we're not really competing against each other in these industries. It's such a big industry in relation to so many different people relate differently to different techniques and strategies and different people, that the world's big enough for us all to exist and do our thing. And I think that's a credit to you to realize that and get some people helping you. Do you feel like that was a tough decision to make, to try and say, okay, well, hang on a minute, maybe I need to get some help on this?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily a tough decision. So again, going back to that military background, I'm used to being involved in a team. Like, I'm used to the idea of everyone has a role. And honestly, I felt like I know myself, I know where my strengths are, but I realized in order for this thing to really do what it's capable of doing, I need other people with other gifts, with other talents, with other strengths. Because if it's just me, we're just going to be doing push-ups all day. But we need someone over here that can do yoga. I mean, We need someone that knows how to work the camera and shoot great videos. We need someone that knows what it really means to build a community. And so just
Yeah.
finding those different people that can do those different things has really been beneficial.
Yeah. And I mentioned the word community. There's a lot of talk about that lately in the fact that social connections create have a big impact on people's emotional state and hence physical state and overall wellness. Do you feel that you're creating that community around you with your three pillars business and that your clients or that even the people that you work with are creating a unique community?
I'll be honest with you, that is something that we have really, I'll say within the last year or two, have been trying to put more effort into. And
Yeah.
so realizing that, at least in my opinion, I want to say that part first. I feel that a lot of times when we embark on our physical journeys or our fitness journeys, we feel like it has to just be us, right? And a lot of times people don't succeed because they don't have that support. And I realized, yo, wouldn't it be ideal if we had a community of people that were looking to maybe not accomplish the exact same thing, but they can relate to my struggles. They can share my accomplishments. They can motivate me. I can motivate them. Just having somebody that when you look to your left and your right, that person gets you. And
Mm.
so the last year or so, we started putting together, some community driven events. For instance, last year we had quite a few group sessions out at a local park over here. And it was great. I mean, it wasn't always full capacity, but the fact that anyone showed up and they were able to have a good time and meet up with someone else, to me, that made it more than worth my time.
Yeah, yeah, and that's amazing that you're taking that effort, and and do you find like a lot of the time with my work, and I know I'm a little bit contradictory now because we're sitting here talking on Zoom, but social media and generally some of these platforms are generally a big cause of people's problems in relation to connection and trolling and all sorts of crazy stuff that happens on these forums. Do you do you find trying to create positive use for these platforms is helping people, or do you think that there is a sort of resistance um, on these social platforms that you're using to spread your messages, or are you finding any positives or negatives in that at the moment? Or
To your point, I definitely agree. So I follow quite a few influencers myself. A lot of these guys motivate me. And one of my favorite people, he talks about how negativity is really loud. It's really
yeah,
loud. It's everywhere you look. And so it's really it's really cool to just see someone doing something different. And I can definitely relate to what you're saying. When I scroll through my Facebook feed, for instance, I will say maybe 80% of what I see is people just not having a good time. You know what I mean? And if they
yeah,
are, it's usually at someone else's expense. And that's not
yeah,
everyone, but it's not uncommon. And unfortunately, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in my experience over here, it's usually the negative things to get the most attention. It's
yeah,
usually the heck
yeah,
to get the most attention, right? So it's just something to work with. But to answer your question, I do feel that the message that we're putting out is being well received. Maybe not by everyone, but I think it's hitting the right people at the right time.
yeah. And a focus on just the positive aspects. You're not really focusing on any negative aspects in relation to any of your campaigns. You're just promoting positive things and then not shaming people that, for example, that might be overweight or whatever. You must do this or whatever. That you're more into positive messaging.
Yeah, I mean, so the way I see it, whenever I go to make a post, I always tell myself, there's already 10,000 other people out here complaining. Why do you have to add to it? You know what I mean? So why not just
Yeah,
do something different?
yeah, yeah. No, that's a great philosophy. So so thanks for letting us know. So you just said you're just branching out on LinkedIn now, so people can reach out to you um, uh, and make connections. You're happy to chat with people and connect with people on LinkedIn, or so Facebook's another one I've used. Is it all under the three pillars name? Is it, or how is it generally working for you?
Yep. So on Facebook and Instagram and even TikTok, if people are on there, we do go by Three Pillars MBS or Three Pillars Fitness LLC. It'll be under one of those two. But if you're looking to talk with me directly, I'm on all of the platforms. It'll just be John Waters.
Yeah. No, that's cool. And what sort of what sort of messages do you think? What's a good takeaway you can give people that are watching this episode? Or do you want to do a bit of a plug on what you're doing or what can be expected?
Yeah. So my big take overall is to just, look for a way to help someone else out. That's what I've been trying to figure out. How can I help someone else? Um, Again, I mentioned earlier that I grew up in Cincinnati, and I didn't grow up in necessarily the best conditions. Not that they were bad, because my mom did a great job, but I had a lot of examples, not necessarily in my home, but around me, of what I didn't want to be. And then when I got older, I realized that the reason I couldn't find what I wanted to be is because maybe that wasn't being spoken about as often. And so what I would tell someone that's listening to this is find a way to be the person you needed when you were younger. And that's how we're going to change this thing. I feel like a lot of adults are maybe set in their ways, but it's the kids, it's the young people that we can help out, that we can be an example to.
Yeah. That's a beautiful message. And another one I heard you say before is before you tried to help other people out, you took the time and helped yourself and felt the need to to get yourself in the right position, the right frame of mind, in the right mental health, and dealt with your own issues. And that's quite courageous to look in the mirror and define their faults within yourself and look at correcting them. Do you feel that's helped you tackling your own issues first when it comes to helping other people?
Yeah, so I always like to frame everything I do and everything I say with the precursor that I'm not there yet, right? So I haven't reached whatever perfect is. I still wake
Yeah,
up every day, not necessarily stressed out or angry, but it's not uncommon that I have a bad day.
yeah,
Life tests all of us, right? But yeah, I do think being clear with myself about who I am and where I'm at and what I'm struggling with has made it much easier to relate to other people and speak to them not like they're a client, but speak to them like they're a person, right? Because I think speaking to people like they're people matters.
yeah, yeah, and that's a great thing. One of the first things that was shared with me when we were talking about these sort of issues was if you're in a plane at 30,000 feet, and the plane hits turbulence and the oxygen mask drops, you're always told to put the oxygen mask on yourself. You can't help other people until you're got oxygen yourself. And I think that's a pretty good story as a metaphor for what you're trying to say there. And I feel that takes a big person to be able to do that and to move forward. And I appreciate your service as well in the military. Obviously, anyone that's helped, for a greater purpose than their own, and helping civilians, in general, a big shout out and congratulations and thanks to you for your efforts in your work there. And I really do think that you spending your time to help other people is amazing, and I wish you all the best. And I'll happily share this on my social medias and try and raise some awareness to for you, and hopefully get some conversation started and get a community going. It'd be great. But thank you very
Yeah, I
much for
appreciate
joining me.
it. Sir, thank you.
No worries. Have a good one. See you. Bye.
Thank you. Later.